You're listening to Four Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast.
Today is Friday, February 27th. I'm Maria Lizignoli.
And I'm Johnny Connor. Thanks for listening to Four Things to Know.
Your first thing to know today, Minnesota's latest economic forecast was released today. The outlook has gotten a little better since the last budget forecast, which came out 3 months ago. The fiscal year 2026 to 2027 projected balance is now $3.7 billion. That's more than $1 billion higher than the November estimate. However, there is a lot of economic and fiscal uncertainty right now. We're told that spending growth outpaces revenue growth for budget projections for fiscal year 2029. State economists say shifting policies at the federal level and missing or incomplete data due to recent federal government shutdowns introduce significant uncertainty to the projections. State leaders held a news conference today to break down these numbers.
I'm Minnesota Management and Budget Commissioner Erin Campbell. Left unspent, that surplus will carry forward into fiscal years 28 and 29. Those funds carrying forward are key to ending the planning years with a positive balance. As a result, we're currently forecasting a $377 million positive balance in FY 28 and 29.
Number 2, today hundreds of people are in the Twin Cities for a conference to end hunger in Minnesota. This is the second year of the Make Hunger History Summit, and it's being held at the Heritage Center in Brooklyn Center. Organizers say this is in response to how Minnesota's food network has been taxed for the past several months. John Lauritsen was at the conference today. You'll also hear from Sarah Moberg. She is Second Harvest Heartland CEO.
With Operation Metro Surge, they saw a huge spike in food needs throughout the state, and really a lot of families at that time, some in particular, were not going to work. Some kids were not going to school, so they really saw things spike then. Today you have representatives from Minnesota food banks, food shelves, and meal programs, and they were joined by former St. Paul Mayor Melvin Carter III, who was the keynote speaker. The idea here is to gather to share what they've learned during a trying time and to think about solutions for hungry families as they move forward.
The last few months have been really challenging, and if you go back to federal shutdown all the way to most recently Operation Metro Surge, those activities have really stretched the hunger relief network to its max capacity.
And after this morning's introduction, they've had a number of breakout groups here to try and find those solutions. Now, one statistic they're kind of concentrating on is there's been a hunger survey in Minnesota, and it really shows that 1 in 5 families, 1 in 5 households cannot afford the food they have at home. So trying to figure out solutions to that to get that number down even further at a time when food prices have been rising.
In March, the Salvation Army is putting on their biggest food drive of the year, and WCCO is partnering with them to help make it happen. The campaign gets started today, and it goes through March 27th. There are 50 different metro area locations to drop off non-perishable food. Places like Blaze Credit Union, Warner's Stallion Store, and all Salvation Army family stores and service centers. You can also give money. For more information, visit wcco.com/meals4mn.
Number 3, tens of thousands of fentanyl pills were stopped from getting into Minnesota communities after what started as a routine traffic stop. According to the Minnesota State Patrol, a trooper stopped a vehicle for speeding on I-90 near Albert Lea when they noticed signs of possible drug activity. That's when a State Patrol K-9 and BCA assisted the trooper in recovering 9 packages of fentanyl pills. In total, there were about 50,000 dangerous pills.
Number 4 today, concerning new numbers when it comes to measles in Minnesota. We've learned from health officials that the number of measles cases in our state has doubled in the last week. The Minnesota Department of Health said yesterday that there have been 10 reported cases in the state so far this year. That is double from the last update when there were only 5 on February 19th. Health officials say all 10 cases came from exposure within the U.S. The 5 reported last week occurred in the Twin Cities, and at least 4 of the cases are linked. Officials say the best way to protect yourself and your family from measles is to get vaccinated. Experts blame declining vaccination rates for increases in preventable diseases like measles. During the 2019-2020 school year, 95.2% of kindergartners were vaccinated. From 2021 to 2022, that number dropped to 93%. And in 2023 to 2024, it dropped to 92.7%. Officials recommend children receive 2 doses of the MMR vaccine. That's for the measles, mumps, and rubella. Those are your 4 things to know today. Now let's check in on our weekend forecast.
Happy Friday, guys. Thanks for the meteorologist Adam Del Rosso checking in with that forecast. Big changes as we head into our Friday night and Saturday morning. Winds, they're turning out of the north. That's going to pull in some much colder air. So we go from near 50 this afternoon, 50, all the way down to 15 for our low temperature tonight. Clouds are going to be moving on in even as those winds calm down. Wind chills are going to be down into the single digits. And for some of us from the Twin Cities southward, we are going to have some snow move on in as we head through our Saturday morning. Accumulations look to be a swath of 1 to 3 inches, locally more south of I-94, but north of I-90. That wraps up as we head toward our Saturday afternoon, but we don't really warm up much. Low 20s is all we do for our highs tomorrow. We'll be able to get into the mid-20s on Sunday with a little bit more in the way of some sunshine. But once we get toward next week, that's when we warm things back up into the 30s and 40s.
And now, here's more to know.
We have an update to a tragedy we've been following this week. 2 brothers shot and killed by their cousin in North Minneapolis. We're now learning more about the victims. Family says 14-year-old Xavier Barnett and 23-year-old Akwame Stewart were both loved and full of promise. Police say 23-year-old Eddie Duncan had been released from jail just hours before the shooting, despite a judge ordering a mental health evaluation for him. The Hennepin County Attorney's Office says they noted Eddie Duncan was a public safety risk and asked for a high bail, much higher than a typical request. But Duncan paid it. And according to a court-licensed examiner, without a violent criminal history, they had no way to hold him. The victim's sister, Deasia Freeman, blames the justice system for allowing bail and blames her own relatives for paying it.
If y'all knew that he wanted to harm you all, why go bail him out of jail? They all failed us. We got 2 innocent lives that's gone for no reason.
After the shooting in Minneapolis, police say Duncan went to Brooklyn Center and was waving a gun. In a shootout with police, Duncan died. The BCA is leading the investigation into that fatal police shooting.
We want to give you an update on a story we first brought you yesterday. A crash in Mille Lacs County with multiple deaths. 4 people are dead after a head-on crash. This happened on Wednesday. 2 cars went off the road and into the trees that night. The State Patrol says 1 car crossed the center line and hit the other. Only 1 of the 5 people survived. We talked to a Good Samaritan, Amy Christie, who did what she could to comfort that young woman.
Nobody at that time was moving. Then a girl in the back started moving and I went to her to help her. It's a hard thing to see. Not something anybody wants to do, but, you know, I'd want somebody to stop and help my family.
Family tells us that 25-year-old needed emergency surgery but is recovering now. Investigators say the road was dry and conditions were clear when the crash happened.
Minneapolis-based Target said today it will become one of the first national retailers to only carry cereals made without certified synthetic colors. Target says it's worked closely with national brand and owned brand partners to reformulate products where needed. Target says its guest insights and sales trend data show a long-term shift toward foods made without artificial additives, particularly for the products that families buy for their children. So by the end of May, all of the cereal in Target will be made without certified synthetic colors, which seems like, why hasn't that been done already, and why isn't that everywhere, right?
Well, Lucky Charms looks so good with those fake pink colors and all that stuff.
So true.
Fruity Pebbles.
Yum. Looks great. Probably not
good.
great for you.
Yeah, so that's
yeah,
good.
Hey, step in the right direction, I suppose.
Absolutely. Maria, let's get to everyone's favorite topic, mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes? No, it's still the winter.
I know, but summer's coming. It's warmer today. It's going to be cold this weekend. But today, the Metropolitan Mosquito Control District says the Twin Cities saw a record year for West Nile virus last year.
Oof.
Not good. There were 47 human cases in the metro that shattered the previous high of 28, and there were also 75 cases reported statewide. Officials say high numbers of the primary carrier mosquito and early season infection spikes drove the surge. The year also, though, brought the Twin Cities' first ever detection of an invasive mosquito. I'm not going to read the name because it's kind of complicated, but that's a development that experts called concerning, but it does now appear eradicated. So that's good news. And the last thing from the report that we can chat about, a boom in aggressive cattail mosquitoes from last year. That was fueled by 2024 heavy rains. Do you remember all the flooding we had that year?
Yeah, we absolutely had a lot of flooding.
So get this, crews ended up treating 282,000 acres. That was their busiest season in almost a decade.
Oh, I can't even imagine how you would track and trace something like that because there are mosquitoes everywhere and it's not like they have a long lifespan.
That's exactly true. And the one thing that this report did not highlight is expectations for this season. I think there has to be more data on kind of the extent of the winter that we had.
Right.
But it hasn't seemed to be overly snowy. And I don't remember.
Yeah, it has. We've had so much snow this winter.
You think we had a lot? I feel like we haven't.
Oh my gosh. I feel like, well, compared to the last two, I feel like there's been so much snow.
Okay, what about rain in the summer?
That's true. I can't even remember the summer at this point.
We need more coffee. But yeah, kind of an interesting report. They eradicated an invasive mosquito, so that's good.
That is great news. That is great news. And finally, we want to let you know about a road closure in the metro. I-394 is closing tonight at 10 o'clock in both directions between downtown Minneapolis and Highway 100. This is to allow crews to remove the Penn Avenue bridge deck. This closure lasts through Monday morning at 5 a.m., but the work that started on 394 last Sunday will continue through November.
Maria, let's get to sports. Huge win for the Wild last night in Colorado. That made me so happy. They won 5-2, gaining ground in the standings. This was a funny moment, though, that we have to talk about. Late in the win, goalie Philip Gustafson, he puked.
What?
Onto the ice, through his mask. So Jesper Wallstedt came into the game. And funny enough, Wallstedt, the game was already basically over, but he allowed a goal on the first shot he took.
No.
Yeah, and this is even more funny. After the game, Wild forward Matt Boldy gave Gustafson the team's Player of the Game award and kind of applauded him for playing through some puke.
Oh my gosh. Do we know what's wrong with him?
He was just a little under the weather, but he played so well.
No kidding.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
That's I've never seen such a thing.
You'll have to watch the video.
Yeah, I'm sure I will.
The Wild are back in action tonight in Utah. I doubt Gustafson is playing tonight.
He might still feel a little sick. Get some rest, Gusty.
Timberwolves got a big win last night on the road in LA. Anthony Edwards, 31 points. Let's go. Wolves' next game is in Denver on Sunday.
It's time to take a breath with your Daily Bright Spot.
A family up north had a surprising visitor in their yard recently. Listen to this.
She said, I think I just saw a bear run up the driveway. And we said, no, it has to be a raccoon or something.
But it was no mistake. A baby black bear showed up outside a Minnesota family's home. It happened in Hermantown, Minnesota, about 15 minutes outside of Duluth. But, you know, it's not crazy to see black bears up in northern Minnesota. What is crazy is that this little cub should have been hibernating.
Past its bedtime.
Way past its bedtime. Neighbors tried creating a cozy den with snow, straw, and hay bales, and it did work for a little bit, but Melissa Kolsch with the Minnesota DNR had to step in and help out.
Intervening in this way is very unusual. We don't typically trap bears, but because this was so unique, we thought in this circumstance we could remove him from the situation to give him a better outlook at being more of a wild bear.
The cub is at a rehab center and will be released this spring. The DNR says if you see a bear wandering around in the winter, do not feed it or approach it. Just call the experts.
That is so funny. A baby cub. So the cub must have gotten away from like its mother, right? They hibernate
must have
together.
Woken up and been like, Mom, I'm hungry. Mom's sleeping. Goes and finds out its own food, I guess.
Well, and you were in at 4 a.m. this morning.
I was.
And I was in at 5. So
Early
sleep
mornings.
does sound nice. I would not get up in the middle of a 3-month sleep.
Absolutely. If I could sleep for 3 months, oh my gosh, I would take it. But I don't know what I would do if I would see a bear. That'd be crazy.
And this baby cub was so cute too. So tiny.
Go look on our website. We have videos of it right now. But yeah, it is kind of crazy to see something like that in the wild. Oh, anyway, thank you so much for joining us on this Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm Maria Lizignoli with Johnny Connor, and this has been 4 Things to Know. We're here with the news you need every weekday afternoon by 3 o'clock.
Listen to 4 Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.